Benvinguts i gràcies.
So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today in our attempt to solve the enigma of alpha DNA, decoding next-gen engagement drivers. Previous session offered us valuable insights into how to reach younger audiences. Now, together with my colleague, Regina Ramos, we would like to take you one step further towards the emerging audience that is starting to shape the future, Gen Alpha. Who are they? How do they see the world? And above all, how can we, as regional public broadcasters, connect with them in meaningful ways? And to try to answer this question, we will start with some facts and figures before diving into the key traits and values that define the alpha DNA. And finally, we will dive into how they engage with content and what their audiovisual DNA looks like.
In the audiovisual industry, we are at a time of many challenges. With hyper-fragmented consumption and unprecedented technological advances, we innovate, we develop, always thinking about producing better content that connects with our targets. Because in our industry, content is king. But it's essential to understand who we are targeting. Back to the basics, investigating, exploring, and unraveling insights in order to face challenges and connect in more meaningful ways. That's why content is king, but context is King Kong to engage with alphas. So let's deep dive on them.
Interesting view, Regina, but let's begin by going through some of the key facts and figures about Gen Alpha. Starting by global presence. There are over than 2.1 billion alphas worldwide, with more than 65 million in Europe. And although the first members of Gen Beta have already started to arrive this year, anyone born between 2010 and 2024 is considered Gen Alpha.
So the oldest are 15 years old now. Interesting. Now, the three countries with the largest alpha population in Europe: Ireland, 19%, Montenegro, 18%, Sweden, 17%. Oh, Matias, I feel like I'm in Eurovision. But well, anyway, let's continue.
Yes. Let us set the context. Alphas are children of millennials, and they will one day become the parents of Gen Gamma.
In 2010, the alphas began to be born, and these things happen. Last episode of Lost, we were suffering the post-2008 crisis development. Instagram was born. The first iPad was launched, and app was chosen as the word of the year.
Like every generation, they have had their own signature gadgets. If millennials played with Rubik's Cubes and first listened to music on Walkmans, alphas have grown up with fidget spinners and smart speakers.
Regarding the job market, 2 out of 3 will work in jobs that don't exist yet. Wow, and that's what a vertigo.
Artificial intelligence, AirPods, and virtual reality are not just trends for them. They are defining elements of the world they are growing up in.
They interacted with AI, such as voice assistant, before learning how to read and write. They just have to ask.
Rise as screenagers and known as the glass generation. For many, their pacifiers haven't been a rattle or a set of keys, but a smartphone or a tablet.
So, let's start with the DNA alpha and try to decode some of their mysteries.
It's very difficult to sum up Gen Alpha in a single sentence, Regina, but if we were to attempt it, it could be they live and breathe technology, yet still seek real-world interactions. But what does this really mean when it comes to their values and mindset, Regina?
Let's start with their attitudes and values. In general, they are more open-minded and have less stereotypes. Globalized, internet and technology enable them to be in contact with many different realities. Think of all the access, all the transfer and exchange that has been available to them since they were born. Post-stereotypes. They live with diversity and use fewer labels. They understand people for who they are, not just for how they are. Managing and communicating emotions. Educated to have the ability to identify, understand what feelings mean through colors, words, images, and they are able to communicate how they feel. And finally, adopting eco-friendly habits. Eco-habits are established in a more natural way. They include more solutions in their daily lives, such as using lunch boxes or reusable bottles.
As we mentioned earlier, Gen Alpha lives and breathes technology, but how do they engage with on a deeper level? They are a touch generation. Swiping and immediacy is their culture. They look for hybrid experiences. Technology is integrated into flexible and personalized ways in their online and offline activities. Use it to voice interaction. New ways of relating to technology enable them to interact with advanced language models without needing programming or EA experience. And finally, formats in STEAM. They integrate art and science in their learning process. They program, create content, and build collaborative networks, living between virtual and real worlds.
Regarding the ecosystem, the family ecosystem, they have more horizontal and a transgenerational perspective. Shared time. They enjoy sharing time with their loved ones, face to face, and that's good news. Spending real time with them. Transgenerational parenting, more time with grandparents, and the composition of the families is more diverse. Think of mom, dad, mom and dad, mom and mom, dad and dad, biparental, monoparental, a lot of options. Activists at home, they are nonconformists and they demand debate and negotiation at home. And finally, overexposure. They increasingly refuse to show themselves in photos on social media. It's estimated that these children, or at least some of them, will have more than 1,000 photos on the internet without their explicit consent.
Wow, Regina, parenting is getting out of hand. And finally, what about leisure? It's clear that playing is a trendy topic for alphas, but what lies behind this trend? Gamification. Beyond the game, gaming codes are present in many aspects of their lives, from humor to communication styles and even the way they learn. Presence is aspirational for lockdown generation, and they have an active preference for activities with families and friends that promote outdoor experiences. Snacking and swiping through content. Use it to swipe and use it to hyperconsumption of diverse content for entertainment or for learning. And finally, socializing through music. Music everywhere and every time. It's a constant across alphas in their day-to-day.
Well, let's focus now on the alpha audiovisual DNA and share some real examples of Trescat.
Yes, Regina, we will conclude our journey through the Gen Alpha by analyzing 5 drivers to connect with them through audiovisual content. Music as a shared experience, autonomous content consumption, the power of equals and creativity, alpha-based learning, and the strength of face-to-face and hybrid experiences.
So, let's start with music as a shared experience. Music is an element of cohesion that allows them to enjoy it both individually and collectively. On one hand, they have unlimited access to all the content through YouTube, TikTok, an endless source of recreation and entertainment. On the other hand, it's a socializing element, a driver of self-expression across alphas. At Trescat, we have created authentic alpha meeting points with musical spaces such as Euphoria, Falala, Random, Beta, or Choreo. Let's see some examples of these meeting points.
Please stay. I want you, I need you, don't take these beautiful things that I've got. Please stay. I want you, I need you, God, don't mensajerio. These beautiful things that I've got. Don't take.
And after the magic of music, what about autonomous content consumption? Well, alphas are real digital natives, mastering different forms of interaction with technology and coexisting with algorithms naturally. This creates a constant need to improve interfaces, to facilitate the autonomous content consumption in a safe environment, as well as to increase the value of content offered, that they consume intensively if it connects with their interests. Trescat offers windows to discover it during early childhood in safe environments like YouTube Kids or our own digital platforms such as Mic, Tito, or Una Mala de Contes. Let's see them.
So much fun and discovery. Let's continue with the power of equals and creativity. I'm sure that we are all aware of the power of creating strong and engaged communities and how difficult it is to maintain their attention. But generating identification through contents where the main characters are themselves is a real asset to encourage consumption, creativity, and connect with their interests. At Trescat, we create content by alphas for alphas that encourage real-life experimentation, such as Tic Tac Factory, Manduka, or Cute. Let's see it.
Quina passada.
Benvinguts a Tic Tac Factory.
Manduka!
No!
Lovely to watch, not only alpha with alphas, but alphas with baby boomers too. And yet beyond creativity and real-life experimentation, how does Gen Alpha engage with learning? Alphas are not only looking for entertainment in audiovisual content, they are used to learn in digital environments through video formats and gamification. They are a visual and touch screen generation, and they have already experienced augmented realities. So, educational contents must be designed for them and aligned with their codes. And how we are addressing this challenge at Trescat? We have three strong examples that connect directly with the educational needs of Gen Alpha. InfoK, a news program with an alpha-style approach. Supercampus, audiovisual content that reinforces school subjects. And finally, FUET, the history of Catalonia, explained in an engaging and dynamic way. Let's see them.
Avui comencem parlant d'orientació.
Detalls de les Legions 140. Al País Valencià.
Quarts d'una quan hi ha hagut la gran apagada. S'ha apagat la llum.
Alerta, mare, febre, imatge.
Vols descobrir-ho?
Soc Salvador Dalí, surrealisme!
And last but not least, the strength of face-to-face and hybrid experiences. Although they grow up surrounded by screens, they especially value everything that breaks the digital routine. They enjoy in the real world with face-to-face interactions. The memory of COVID lockdown helps them understand the value of physical experience. Presence is an emotional need, not just a social option. They do not want to choose between the digital and the real world. They want the best of both worlds. At Trescat, we've created experiences that provide technological immersion and authentic human connection, like the Campus of Euphoria at Summer, VR experiences of Super 3, and Tito's concert. Let's see how they enjoy.
Estem a punt de començar.
Oh, I must confess that despite being a millennial, I would also enjoy joining some of these activities. So, in conclusion, these are some characteristics about Gen Alpha, but today.
So we will have to keep revisiting them to understand how they evolve. Stay tuned for more Alpha news.
Ai, m'he saltat.
Gracias, Matias. Gracias, Regina. This was really inspiring. The videos were awesome. And do you have any questions for Matias or Regina on all this content they showed to us? Let's see. Coming through. There we are. What are the most surprising consumption habits you have identified in Generation Alpha regarding news content?
So maybe it would be that in the case of InfoK, that's an info program on Alpha style. Most of the schools in Catalonia put it on during the classes, and I think the most interesting and surprising composition habit is that they love this. They love to watch it and
it's like something that they need to live and to understand in their language, not as a news like we do the adults.
Okay. What's the biggest difference from Gen Z?
Oh, there are a lot of differences, but I think one of the most important probably would be
the real native digitals, and they are the ones that born with it and live with it without thinking about how to learn to use it. Technology for them is something natural.
Bernat, did you detect an increase of Catalan young speakers due to this alpha strategy? So do you think you are creating new or improving the radio of younger Catalan speakers thanks to your approach?
Yeah, we need to expect it because in a global media consumption world, it's very hard for a small language like Catalan to maintain the speaking levels, including in the younger audiences. So obviously we expect this.
Yeah.
Which researches did you use to collect the DNA of the alpha generation? What's the data that you were using? The research.
We use different studies, especially one about Gen Alpha that we did with a market research enterprise here in Barcelona with the Onion Insight, and other studies that we did with even with our own interviews in the context of euphoria, for example, speaking with families and with a big base, qualitative and quantitative.
Mm-hmm. I think there's two questions here related. Are the alpha audiences attracted by new content brands, or do you think that Trescat is a brand benefiting from their choice? And the first one is, how loyal are Gen Alpha to platforms, or is the loyalty to brands? So in Trescat in this case. So do you think they watch YouTube because it's YouTube, or they are more loyal to Trescat because it's Trescat?
No, they watch YouTube because it's easier for them and they can access to a wall full of content. So we need to make hybrid experiences and hybrid strategies, merging YouTube and own platforms in order not to compete with YouTube, but to be in YouTube with our contents and to promote that alphas consume our content in YouTube too.
So they can find you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all. Is something you want to add? Okay.
Yes, attracted by new brands.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Okay.
I think it's the same one. So Matias and Regina, thank you so much for your insight
Thank you.
and your presentation.